With Pokemon Sun and Moon, I'm surprised we can even be surprised anymore. The whole game was pirated 2 weeks before it came out, for crying out loud, and yet we are still discovering new things about it through data mining and stuff like that. So all the Pokemon have low polygon models and walking animations. Wait, what? And so yeah, we have like these models and stuff, and apparently like, yeah, look at that, that's a walking animation. That looks like a Pokemon that's having a nice little stroll behind you or something, and then going into the running, and then also I guess transition to the lower polygon model, which is something that would be used in the overworld, so that way there's less lag and it doesn't really do too many things. Also, it's very similar to what we saw in Heart Gold Soul Silver, that there was low sprite models. Man, it's crazy that in just, you know, a couple of short years we're talking about sprites compared to entire like polygon models for Pokemon. That's pretty awesome right there. And what people are doing is they're actually going through and reskinning them just to kind of see what it would look like in the game and stuff. So anyone remember the walking Starmie at the Aether Foundation? When it runs, it flies. Genesect's walking and run animations are a little messed up. So yeah, we're getting a lot of really cool things, such as, you know, Gengar, when it runs, it flies behind you. Now, I think the most interesting part is that there's a walking and a running animation that we see throughout the game, that there's a lot of Pokemon that are running around and doing their own things, like chasing each other or just kind of having these idle animations, or maybe they're moving around independently. That was actually like a really cool thing that we saw about Pokemon Sun and Moon, but I don't know why every single Pokemon has a walking and running animation, and most of them are fairly unique, and some of them are pretty glitchy, like apparently with the Genesect, it seems messed up, not all parts move, but its running animation, it's spaceship mode from the movie, so when it just like flies around and hovers and stuff, that's pretty cool. So then after that, I can't believe the amount of attention we got today from the whole walking animation thing. Well, this guy was also part of like the whole demo data mine and also just every part of the data mine, so we're getting like more and more information, and apparently this has been around for a while. I am sure I'm not the first person to notice them, but I guess I'm the first person to bring it to the public's attention. That's interestingly enough to make people kind of go and lose their mind. So there we go, guys. We have Kazawar bringing it out, and then other people reporting on it, reskinning it, and of course when 4chan gets a hold of it, we discover some funny things. This is the animation and walk cycle and run cycle for Komala. That it just kind of like, you know, just bounces around on its log, and then to keep up with you, it rolls around. Like, Komala doesn't even care. And when I first saw this, I'm like, okay, this is fake. And then when I saw this part, I was like, oh, this looks fairly extra fake. Like, I was like, I don't know. I feel like we've had enough time with the game files to where someone could pull a hoax like this. But this guy, he's the one that's been like a part of the data mining and all this information leaking before, so he gives a lot of credibility to this. That if I was looking for the source, like, if I couldn't pinpoint the source, I might have thought this is a very elaborate hoax. But yeah, this is just amazing. Like, Game Freak is absolutely hilarious. Then we can go and see this, that we have some more models and animations. I mean, we got Naruto over here bringing this one out with that Ninja run. We can see that there's also the Arcanine one is so good looking. That is so good. Like, it blows my mind that in the demo, for some reason in demo, we had the sprites of all the Pokemon, and for some reason Pokemon Sun and Moon, we have this right here. Why is this here? So today, if you're not aware yet, a data mine in Sun and Moon featured low polygon models and animations for every Pokemon and form running and walking. Some code pointing towards them supposedly being behind you. I didn't hear anything about the code, so I wonder if that's maybe someone trying to spread a little bit extra rumor or add a little bit of like 4chan trolling to this one. Here's a bunch of GIFs of some of the discovered animations applied to the models used in battle, since low poly models have no texture. So yeah, that's kind of like when we go back to what we saw with the Bulbasaur. You have to like reskin and texture them yourself, or whatever hacking and stuff goes through with that, because that's not what they look like. It's just the models. So I'm wondering like why this information is actually in the game. Was it supposed to be in Pokemon Sun and Moon? Was it being tested? Because remember, when we're talking about like the NX or now the Nintendo Switch or whatever, there is that Pokemon Sun and Moon version coming to the NX. Or at least the rumors of a Pokemon Sun and Moon game for the Switch coming from Eurogamer, but they've given a lot of really good news and they've had trustworthy sources in the past. So this is really interesting because I'm also trying to figure out like what's going on with Pokemon Sun and Moon for the Switch, because it is called Stars, but remember, Pokemon Sun and Moon was codenamed Rainbow. Stars is just a codename. It's still going to be Pokemon Sun and Moon. Now, we don't know if it's going to be a just pretty much Pokemon Sun and Moon with upgraded graphics and maybe slight changes for the Switch, but I'm not expecting too much of a new game. Now, from the rumors, it doesn't seem like the game is going to be like the sequel version or the remake or whatever. It just seems like an updated version of Pokemon Sun and Moon, where stuff like this makes a lot of sense. So maybe, you know, these files are in here because Game Freak was testing it. They wanted to see at least, you know, while they were developing for the 3DS, then they were told by Nintendo, hey, you want to also work on this for the Switch when the Switch comes out. So maybe they were using like the 3DS hardware to test the limits of what's going on, because the Switch is going to be much more powerful, and something like this seems like it would work naturally in the Switch. So it looks like there's going to be like gameplay and maybe some kind of game changes, but I'm not expecting like a full-on different game itself. Remember, Stars just a code name, and people are trying to use that like it's going to be called Pokemon Sun and Moon Stars, Rip Eclipse, or anything like that. But like code names just exist like that. Like the NX was called the NX. Well, the Switch was called the NX before it was called the Switch. So that's how code names work effectively. That's not going to be like a really big telling thing. That's like, okay, are you working on Rainbow or are you working on Stars? I'm working on Stars. Okay, cool, you're for the NX. So that's kind of what we're looking at right here. Some of these other things, like Rotom just spazzes around you, and then I guess we just kind of have like frames from the walking animation. I mean, the Emolga's kind of cute. Look how happy it is, just kind of like walking on the ground. I guess it glides behind you when running. So I mean, like the fact that it has a walk and a run animation really feels like it's Pokemon following you, because maybe like some of these other ones could be explained, because we do know that Pokemon run around and stuff in the overworld already in Pokemon Sun and Moon, but this feels a lot different, and the fact that there's one for every Pokemon means that like a lot of work, a lot of effort was put into this to make lower poly models with walking and run animations for the entirety of the Pokedex, which is now 800 and more. So that's pretty ridiculous right there. And even going into the Ultra Beasts, well, I guess with Buzzwole and Pheromosa, it makes a little bit of sense because we got to see them in cutscenes. But the other ones, they didn't have like run and walk animations. So that's something right there. Also, we're getting to see more and more pictures coming out of it. Like people are just having fun with it. So they're taking Komala and then reskinning it with the Wailord, or they're skinning Wailord and then putting the Komala animation in it. Same with Buzzwole, that you take a flying Pokemon. Is that Archeops? That feels like it has to be Archeops. Because since Buzzwole, I think Buzzwole is broken out. Buzzwole was the least wacky, but it was still just a T-pose hovering. So it looks like even Buzzwole didn't have like full animation because it was just going for the generic modeling T-pose. So that's something. And then also I want to go on to VP, the source of it all, because this is where the fun is happening, guys. This is where the fun is happening. Continuation of walking, running animation, Pokemon thread, tweet with megas and models, and the previewer. So pretty much like, what's going on here? I think there was like a download. Yeah, this. You can download it, and then there's a way to like recode it and stuff. For everyone asking to see certain mons, Ohana 3DS can view them just fine. So people like viewing them, reskinning them, or doing whatever. Like, I'm not sure because I don't hack and I don't know how all this stuff works. But then people are like asking for requests, like, give me, I want to see what these things do. So there's Furret right there. Oh my god, it's so adorable. It just noodles around, and that's Furret right there, and that's what to expect. Ooh, okay, what? Wait, why does Megas get this? Oh my, what? That is ridiculous. So it looks like they just kind of like walk around, and then when you transition to running, it's like, let me go pick you up, put you on my back so we can actually keep up with this mofo right here. So yeah, just people showing random things. I mean, it looks so, whoa. Is that sped up or something, or is that just how it is? Like, I'm trying to get the sense of scale, because yeah, Shinx is actually a really small Pokemon, and when you think about size, you know, a smaller Pokemon is going to have to work a lot harder to keep up with an average, or like a kid that's running behind, or running in front of it. So that's something right there, the Garchomp. And yeah, we get to see this. Now this one's actually really cool. The Garchomp hovering, that we actually can see this in the anime, that Cynthia's Garchomp, whenever it's like quote unquote running, it actually glides and hovers like that. So it's really cool that they're keeping that in Pokemon Sun and Moon. So yeah, you just get to run and keep up, which is pretty nice. That's just a straight up charge right there. It's kind of crazy just to see all of this in action and then like wonder what's going on with it. Ooh, we got the Flygon. Well, I was actually checking out the Flygon earlier. It just goes all flappity flap. The Alolan Marowak is interesting because it just like, that's a big bone club. So then the fire isn't properly textured because of that. Oh, what's Sabergat? Oh, oh my god, that is so happy and adorable. Cute. Hyper cute because it just floats behind you. So yeah, this goes on for a while. I think that's the bulk of it, that we're seeing a lot of really crazy stuff. So does this really mean, like, comment down below, do you think this actually means like Pokemon walking and following you in Pokemon Sun and, or in the Switch version? Maybe it's meant for the sequel. Maybe this is just like something that Game Freak tried out, then they realized that maybe it wasn't right for Pokemon Sun and Moon. Maybe it was scrapped. Maybe it just, there wasn't enough time to put into the game. Maybe the 3DS is too laggy, which is, what if this is what the idea is? Like, okay, super tinfoil conspiracy theory. What if this is one of the biggest reasons why Pokemon Sun and Moon is coming to the Switch? That Game Freak really wanted to make this like the most comprehensive, full-on Pokemon experience, including other Pokemon following you, similar to Heart Gold, Soul Silver, like the greatest Pokemon games of all time. So maybe because of that, they wanted to do it, but the 3DS just can't handle it, so they wanted to actually have this still be an experience, which is why it's coming to the Switch. And I wonder if we'll ever find out about this through like an interview or something. Like the next time someone has an interview with Junichi Masuda, or the ability to ask him a question, or whatever the game developers, like since Omori is the game director, someone ask like Omori what's going on. I feel like I want to hear about this after the Switch. Maybe we'll get some ideas behind like Pokemon following you and stuff. Because as you can tell, there's a lot of generations that have their own unique things that stay into that generation, and or at least the game-specific stuff, like Heart Gold, Soul Silver. It seems like one of the biggest features was Pokemon following you. We didn't see that in the 5th generation. We didn't see that in the 6th generation. We haven't seen that in the 7th generation until whatever's going on right here. So it seems like it was meant to just kind of stay as a part of that Pokemon experience, but maybe it's going to be a little different than that. And then pretty much, I guess, as we go down, it's effectively just more and more of this for a very long time. Oh, hey, there's the Emolga. Oh, look at that. It was the fly animation. Like, come on. Yeah, I knew it'd get the running fly animation. So that's pretty much what people are doing. They're going off like the 4chan post, because this is like part 2 of the posts, and then they're just kind of doing their own reskins and then posting about it. So that's pretty crazy right there. So if you guys enjoyed the video, like I said, I don't know what to expect in me. Pokemon following you in Pokemon Sun and Moon, that would just be absolutely wild, especially with like the updated character models and stuff. And that's why some of them might look weird. Like, I think another reason why I wanted to say fake is like Zoroark's eye looks really funny, but that's just people, however good. Like the Scrafty one, that looks really solid, and that's where we can tell it's like a very specific animation. Like the Zoroark, the Scrafty, like Scrafty has to hold up its pants. So that's what's happening right there. And then with the Zoroark, well, it depends on how well the person wants to remodel it. Like, okay, they just slap on the eye to make it look okay. And yeah, that's some pretty awesome looking stuff. So if you guys enjoy the video, hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.